my more like Venus flytrap around these. Thank you so much for hanging out for the last hour, 50 minutes. Talked about the comments from Ben Volen early this morning on Greg Hill's show. Also the conversation that's going on with Zappe and Mac Jones. And, look, and I was just saying, look, I can't afford to play loosey-goosey with facts and make up stories. I can only give you a perspective, and I have to give some type of backup to it. So when I say that Mac Jones is a form of privilege, it's because of how he's come about as a quarterback through college into the pros. Not saying anything about him personally, not trying to, hey, I talked to some person, inside of a Cumberland Farms and they told me some good stuff. I can't do that. We know why I can't do that. All right, let's get a text from the text line, 37937. Joe, go ahead.
So this is from a 201 texter. He's saying there's so much BS going on soap opera-wise with the quarterback situation that you can't really offer speculation right now. He's saying Mac will come back whenever he is ready, and he wants to hear about football rather than speculate on what is or isn't true.
Okay. Well, you're welcome. We won't know that until Mac gets back in the game. I think people forget in the narrative with Drew Bledsoe is he did get back in the game. It's then after that, Bill said, nope, I'm going to go with Brady. So, and we're not even talking about a Bledsoe character in the lead in this situation. I think the reason why it's perked people's ears is because, and their eyes, is because there are a lot of people who I believe were giving this kind of false love to Mac being really, really good. It's like telling yourself she really loves you for who you are, despite you being a millionaire, and she demands that she go shopping 3 days a week. There's a chance that she doesn't really love you, but she loves your money. And I think with Mac Jones, it's one of those situations like, hey, you came out of Alabama. We know the characters that are involved. And the previous year was just a disaster with Cam Newton. So we were vulnerable. I'm sorry. That didn't come off right. But yeah, it did. Also talked about some of the game lineups for this weekend. Patriots favored by 8 against the Bears, and I like it. I probably see like a 21-10 game. The Bears are just absolutely horrible at putting the ball in the air. And N'Keal Harry will be back. Be a lot of blocking up there. Look at him push that sled like no other. Catch the ball, what's the point? I mean, Justin Fields has 3 less rushes than Damian Harris does. That's how much they run the ball.
Can I ask you this, though, about Chicago, is that you're talking about Justin Fields not being good. Don't you think, though, the situation that, like, the Bears organization has put him in is hurting because he doesn't really have an offensive line, not a lot of weapons, and the same thing could be said about, like, what they did with their previous quarterback, Mitch Trubisky. So you could put blame on the Bears as an organization for putting Fields in this situation.
You know what I told my kid today when we were doing homework together? Because one of the toughest things to do is to go back and have to do homework with your child when you get to a certain age. You're like, man, I thought I already did this. Is sometimes she gets in the mode of saying, I can't. And I said, the more you say I can't, the more likely you never will. But if you say you can, eventually you will do. So at some point, there can't be this argument for Justin Fields like, well, they can't because they never will if that's the case. Sometimes you just have to tell yourself, we can. I think the San Francisco the San Francisco 49ers are brilliant at that because Jimmy G screams, we can't, but somehow they are always doing with him. And now who do they have now, right? Literally at one point, Jimmy G was not allowed to practice with the team, couldn't get a playbook, just was thrown off to the side until they could figure out someone to give him a phone call. Trey Lance goes down. Why? Because he can't throw the ball. And boom, here comes Jimmy, who everybody thinks can, but he tells himself he can, and he's back in there. So with Justin Fields, look, if you've got a running game, the running game should set up the play action. The play action should set up space. If you see it on the film, I mean, this dude will count 4 Mississippis like kids are playing on a playground before he throws the ball. This isn't college where, hey, you've got the superior athlete on your side of the ball, and you've got a guy who's going to be working at a car rental place next week. All right, look, not political, but this is good news. The current administration in Washington has now made it possible for hearing aids to be bought over the counter at much cheaper price. Do you know what that means to everybody in this industry of radio? Think of all the relationships we've lost girlfriends, relationships, all because of this word. Huh? Well, he's acting stupid. He's being funny. No, hearing is kind of going. So some places you get them as $700, $200. I won't mention the stores that are mentioning them because I don't have the roster of who pays for advertising here. So I'm not going to big you up if you ain't paying. But some major retailers will have them as low as $200. Some places $199. So a person like me will no longer have an excuse. But I'll tell you what, if my wife buys me a pair of damn hearing aids for Christmas, we call it a lawyer.